Hey everybody, welcome to Algebra by Luigi. I'm going to be teaching you how to do some factoring today, so hopefully you will have a good time and really learn how to do it. However, I cannot write with my gloves on, so I have to take the glove off. Okay, factoring today. Whenever we try to factor and the number is not a 1 in front of the first term. Alright, if there's numbers not a 1 right there, then we've got two options. Our first option is to guess and check. Alright, so when we guess and check, we're going to go ahead and we're going to write down our two parentheses. And we're going to do exactly what it sounds like we're going to do. This first one is going to be pretty easy. There's only one way to get a 2y. Okay, I have to do 2y times y. So I'm just guessing. Alright? And then I've got a minus right here. So remember, these last two numbers have got to multiply to get negative 5. Alright? So when I want to try and get negative 5, I've got to think about those inside loops. Alright? And basically, I'm literally just guessing and checking. Alright? So, let's say I put the minus 5 here. So if this is minus 5, then this has to be plus 1. Alright? Well, if that's plus 1, then what I'm going to do when I'm checking it is I'm going to check the loops. Okay? Miss Walker's going to tell you this over and over again. This is how she likes for you to do it. So she's going to ask you to check the loops. So when she says check the loops, just like we talked about the other day, that is the inside loop, negative 5 times y is negative 5y, and the outside loop. So 2y times 1 is 2y. Well, negative 5 and positive 2 is going to make negative 3y. So that means this way is wrong. Alright, now, I get kind of lucky on this one because there's only one way to get a negative 5. So I know it's got to be negative 5 and 1, but they're probably just in the wrong spot. So if you have a whiteboard or something that you can erase quickly, then it's going to make this process easier. If you don't, well, then you don't. Alright? And you're just going to be with your pencil, and you may have to think it through a little bit. Alright, so let's move the, we'll say plus 1 over here and minus 5 over here. So now, 1 times y, the inside loop is 1y, and 2 times negative 5 is negative 10y on the big loop. So a negative 10 and a 1 makes negative 9y. So that's what I have there. The 2y and the y is going to multiply to get 2y squared. The positive 1 and the negative 5 is going to make the negative 5 at the back. And then I check my loops, so that's going to give me that. So this right here is my answer. And you're literally just guessing and checking. So there's a little bit of thought to it. The better you are with your times tables, you can guess quicker and easier, and you can try and get to that middle term a little bit faster. Alright? This one over here could potentially create a lot of problems because there's lots of factors of 18. I've got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. And I've got two ways to get a 4. I've got 1 and 4, and I've got 2 and 2. So I've just got to try and come up with something that's going to get me close to negative 27. And I don't really know what that is. I'm just going to have to start guessing. One of the things I would tell you is if you can take numbers over here and numbers over here and start just trying to multiply different combinations in your head, if you can get a number that's close to this, well then maybe we can add or subtract or something and get that right number. So for me, and I've done a bunch of these, you're just now learning, but I've done a bunch of these. I recognize pretty quickly that I think that 6 times 4 is 24, which is close to 27. So I'm just going to try it. So that means if I'm using 6 and 3 over here, I would write 3x and 6x. Now, I did get lucky this time. There's a plus in the back. Well, if this is a plus in the back and this is a minus, that still means the same as before. Both of those have to be minus. All right? And now I've got to figure out, I said I wanted to use the 4 because 4 times 6 is 24. So I want to put the 4 in the spot where it's going to multiply by the 6, which is right here. Which means the 1 has to go over there. Okay? So I'm going to check the loops again. 4 times 6 is negative 24x. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. So I get negative 27x, which is what I wanted. The 3x times the 6x gets me the 18x squared. The negative 4 times the negative 1 gives me the positive 4. And then I've got my middle term right there. So that means 3x minus 4 times 6x minus 1 is my answer. So that's all for guess and check with Luigi. Alright guys, I'm back with factoring with Luigi. Now, we've got one more way to get this done, alright? And I think you're going to like this one, especially if you don't like guessing. Alright, but you do got to remember a couple things. The first step is you're going to slide. The second step is divide. And then the last step, slide again. Alright, so I'm going to tell you what all that means. We'll go to the whiteboard, and this is what we're going to do. So the first thing, we're going to take the number in front of the x squared and we're going to slide it over here and multiply. So 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. Whoops. Alright, so now we've created an equation just like the ones we did on Monday. Alright, so now we're going to factor this. Okay, just factor it just like we would normal. Now obviously we know that 5 times negative 7 is 35 because we just did it to get that. So it makes this pretty easy to factor. And I can say x minus 7 and x plus 5. Okay, easy enough, right? Alright, I want the negative to be 7 because I want, when I check those loops, I want to make sure I get a negative number right here. Okay, so negative 7 and positive 5. Alright, if I check the loops, negative 7x, positive 5x, I'm going to get the negative 2x, which is what I want. Alright, so that's the slide part. Now we're going to divide. The number you slid at the very beginning, that's what you're going to divide by. So you're going to write divided by 5 and divided by 5 on the second part of both of those terms. Okay? Now, this is really simple. Okay? If this won't reduce, then you can just leave it. If this will reduce, then we're going to go ahead and write it x plus 1. Because 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now, if it won't reduce and you still have a fraction, then the last part is to slide again. So you're going to take this number and slide it back to the front. So it becomes 5x minus 7. Whoops, I circled it. Those are supposed to be parentheses. And then circle all of this. So my final answer is 5x minus 7 times x plus 1. Slide, divide, and then slide it back. Okay, it's a simple way you can do it. It even works if you have bigger numbers up here. Okay, we've got 8x squared minus 30x plus 25. So I don't know how to get an 8 or how to get a 25. I think that looks confusing. Guessing a check maybe not be the best way for me to go. So I'm going to take this 8. I'm going to slide it over, which means I'm going to multiply. Now, hopefully we know what 8 times 25 is. If we don't, we get out a calculator. Just think about 8 quarters. If you have 8 quarters, you have $2. Okay, so $2 would be 200. So x squared minus 30x plus 200. Now, I've got to figure out what are the factors of 200 that are going to add up to negative 30. This is exactly what I did the other day. Alright, so I'm thinking. I know x squared is going to be x and x. I know since this is plus, both of these are going to be minuses. And so if they're both going to be the same, probably one of the things you'll come up with quick is 20 times 10, which just happens to be right. So 20 and 10, because negative 20 times negative 10 gets me positive 200. But negative 20x and negative 10x, when I check the loops, gets me negative 30x. Okay, so that's my slide. Alright, now I'm going to divide. I'm dividing by whatever number I slid at the very beginning, so I'm dividing by 8. When I divide by that 8, I've got to reduce both of those. Okay, so 20 divided by 8 is going to reduce to, what goes into 20 and 8? 4 goes into 20 and 8. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I get x minus 5 over 2. Then over here, what goes into 10 and 8? 2 goes into 10 and 8. So this is x minus 5 over 4. Now that I have both those fractions reduced, they both still have a number on the bottom. So I'm going to slide that number back to the front. So 2x minus 5 and 4x minus 5. Alright, that's all, friends. So factoring, when you have a number that's bigger than 1 in front of the x squared, you can guess a check, or you can slide, divide, and slide. We'll see you next time. And that's Slide, Divide, Slide by Luigi.